So, you might have heard the news that Disney is replacing the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror in Disney's California Adventure and making it Guardians of the Galaxy ride. That's awesome! Hello everybody and welcome to the New Arcade. I'm Andrew and this is a little Disney Parks news. I don't really do this often, I've never done this actually, but I wanted to. I wanted to do it with theme park news or video game news in general. Just haven't really had a good, hard topic that I really feel strongly about until a few weeks ago when Disney announced that the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror in California Adventure was going to be changing into the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And when I heard this sounded pretty cool to me. Taking some new technology, some new characters that they own, and replacing a ride in California Adventure that might not be as good as in like almost all the other versions except for Paris. I think that sounds pretty cool, but then people started backlashing on it. And keep in mind, this was about 2 weeks ago, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe it'll just blow over. It's not gonna be anything crazy. Nobody's gonna care that much. It'll die out soon. Until this afternoon when I read something on Twitter that is basically a petition where people are trying to save Tower of Terror in California Adventure. Why? I mean, it's a great ride, but it's not as great as like pretty much all the other versions. Why would you want to keep a ride instead of getting something brand new that is probably going to be awesome? You know, I understand that people think, oh, this is a classic, which, by the way, it's not. We'll get to that in a moment. And I understand that people like the Twilight Zone theming and think of it as a Disney classic. It's not a classic. I just don't understand. It hasn't been around for that long at all. So let's just jump right into this petition. It's the reason I wanted to make this video. I wanted to kind of pick apart the little bits in the petition and just sort of talk about them and why I think it's, to say the least, and to try not to sound ignorant, but it sounds kind of dumb. So let's just jump right in. So the petition starts out by talking about how the plans were leaked to change it and the facts about the ride, how it's only 12 years old and it's going to be replaced by a Guardians of the Galaxy ride that will use the same technology as Twilight Zone Tower of Terror to be part of a new Marvel sort of land, Marvel Studios area that will replace the Hollywood land, or at least the back of it. And then it moves into something that says, to many, this feels very un-Disney-like in its disregard for the popularity of the attraction. Okay, Maelstrom was a popular attraction with a lot of fan base, and they still replaced it with a Frozen ride for kids. And I mean, I love Maelstrom, but it's you gotta move on. And as far as it not being Disney-like, this is what Disney does every day, especially under the Iger area. You know, you saw Disney Infinity, it gets replaced when it's not working, or Maelstrom when it gets replaced. You're taking out backlot to make a Toy Story land, a Star Wars land, all these different IPs. You want to put them in, and that's not a bad thing either. You know, people are saying that like this is a classic, and I wanted to get to this. Twilight Zone isn't even a Disney IP. Technically, I wouldn't be surprised as much as I think they will keep the Walt Disney World version if they would eventually get rid of it, because although it's a great ride, it's not a Disney IP, and it's not that important to the Disney lineup. They're not making any money off the Twilight Zone because it is not something that they own. They maybe have the rights to it, but they don't actually own it. So they can't really just make money off of it. They just have this attraction sitting here that's not representing anything they own, therefore it's not that important to them. Now the next part, it talks about how the Twilight Zone remains one of the most popular attractions in DCA, and of course that's true. You know, it's no Radiator Springs Racers, but it is pretty popular. It's up there with Screamin' and stuff. It's a fun ride. You can see why it's an e-ticket attraction and very important to people. And then it says, in many ways, it is sort of the Sleeping Beauty Castle of Disney California Adventure. I don't get that at all. Actually, you see more Grizzly Peak and Paradise Pier as the main thing. I've never really thought of Twilight Zone at all. I've always, whenever I walk past the Twilight Zone in Disney's California Adventure, I say, oh hey, you're not as good as your brother in Walt Disney World. I never think that, you're the pinnacle of Disney's California Adventure. I should respect you. I've never felt that. It says, to take away the haunted house element would be a huge loss of genre balance to the whole park. Okay, Disney's supposed to be this park that doesn't really do the haunted house thing. Granted, they have the Haunted Mansion, but it's more than a haunted house. I don't think they were going for a haunted house ride with Twilight Zone. I think they were going for a Disney experience. So I don't get that part at all. I think that was just thrown in there to get the mood sort of going of why they want it to be kept instead of replaced. But, whatever. Then it says, why replace a beloved attraction with something that is bound to be short-lived? I don't think Guardians will be short-lived at all. Granted, you could say that Marvel's Phase 4 is, probably not going to have Guardians, or it won't have main characters, so why is Guardians going to be even relevant other than for the next 4 years? But I think it's more relevant than a 50s TV show that Disney doesn't even own. Then it says, why replace a truly inspired and original idea with a marketing ploy? Because they're Disney and they want to make money. Why would you replace, or it's not, it's an original idea, but so is Guardians. Using that, it's not, or it's just as much original as using a different IP. It's not like Disney said, we're going to make this thing, it's going to be called The Twilight Zone, it's going to be a TV show. No, they didn't do that. They didn't have anything to do with that. They just got the rights so they can make an attraction based off of Twilight Zone. So it's just as much as getting the rights to make a Marvel attraction, which will probably be cooler and better and have more good effects. That didn't make sense. More gooder. That's not a word. Forget I said that. Frankly, this sounds like something that Universal Studios Hollywood would do, not Disneyland. Why bring Universal into this? Why? I like the little quip at it. It's kind of good. Like, oh yeah, Universal, they don't do things as well as Disney. And I like Universal, but I'm more of a Disney fan. But I don't think there's any way that they should compare the two. If you want to, save an attraction, you should focus on why you want to save it, not focus on what they're doing wrong. That's just going to make them want to prove you wrong a little more by making a better attraction. So if you're going to really make a petition to save Tower of Terror, don't focus on, you're acting like Universal. I don't think that's good. You shouldn't do that. That's bad. Universal's bad. You're bad. The petition ends by saying, if you feel these actions are uncalled for and absurd, please sign this petition with the hopes of it getting seen by the powers that be. We must keep the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror alive and stop Disney from destroying a young, popular, and iconic attraction. This isn't like you, Disney. Listen to your guests. Put the Guardians somewhere else. I could see where that's a good ending, where they're trying to say, hey, you're doing something bad, you should feel bad about it. But no, they're not doing anything bad. They're replacing it, an older attraction, not even that old, and not as important or classic as the Walt Disney World one, not even as good. It doesn't have that extra scene, and they're replacing it with this new thing that's going to appeal to a younger generation of audience. Disney has to adapt to different generations as they come and go. You have stuff like Horizons that people really appreciated back in, the 80s and the 90s, but they had to replace it with something with Mission Space because, it wasn't as relevant. You have to keep younger audiences entertained and stuff. And I think that, as cool as the idea of the Twilight Zone, the elevator, and going up and down and up and down on it, and just all the technology and cool stuff that goes into it, they could make a way better attraction for more audiences and younger audience that has Guardians in it, and they could still keep to that core of going up and down, up and down. I think that's what they will do, but imagine going up and down and up and down while watching all these cool scenes play out and some Guardians of the Galaxy music, Volume 1, Volume 2 of the Awesome Mix just playing in the background. I think that sounds really awesome, just up and down. I don't know how people think that's a bad idea to keep renewing and refurbishing and making things new so it appeals to more people. Now I know you're maybe thinking, oh, Disney, I hate you because you're replacing my beloved Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. It's so old and stuff, and it should never be replaced because it's a classic. It's not. It was made in 2004. It's not as good or long as the Walt Disney World one or the Tokyo one. It's like Walt Disney Studios in Paris. Same type of thing. If you really, really are gonna die if you don't ride Disney's California Adventures version one more time, just go ride the one in Paris. It's exactly the same. But I don't see why you would be so, aggravated by somebody trying to give you a better experience, a more enjoyable than it already is. Now you're saying, oh, but Twilight Zone, it can't get more enjoyable than that. You'd be surprised what Disney can come up with. I haven't experienced Frozen Ever After, and I loved the Maelstrom, as weird as it was. So I'm kind of wondering how it's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be really nice. The POVs, it looks amazing, and I could totally see why they do it. It appeals to a different audience that, loves Frozen, keeps to an original idea with the boats and stuff, and you're going around, which is the same ride mechanics, and at the end of the day, like Twilight Zone, that's what you want. You want to feel that dropping and going up and down sensation no matter what, because it's a drop tower like no other. And then new update effects and animatronics. I just think seeing the collector's collection of Marvel stuff, as both a Disney fan and a Marvel fan, I'm a huge Marvel fan, but not just because of that. There's going to be so much more detail and probably more effects as long as they don't put Howard the Duck in there. There's going to be so much more of that those different ideas piling into this thing that at the end of the day, even if you're going to miss Disney's Twilight Zone Tower of Terror and California Adventure, you're at least going to get something else good that you will enjoy, even if you don't want to admit it and you're like, oh, I'll never admit it. You're going to see or hear those awesome soundtracks while you're dropping and going up and down. You're going to be like, this is pretty cool. So that's just my rant on Disney news. I would like to do more of these videos in the future, not just for Disney, but for any theme parks when different news comes up. Hopefully others won't be as bad of news, or I think it's good news, but more negative towards everybody together. But I would like to do more of these videos. So until then, just stay tuned for more. If you want to see more of these, then just hit the subscribe button. If you want to see Minecraft videos, hit the subscribe. Theme park vlogs, there's going to be some No Man's Sky stuff coming on the channel pretty soon because it's coming out August 9th and it's going to be awesome. Just hit that subscribe button or leave a like, and there's going to be plenty more videos for you to watch. Until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.